Erik Horne here with Mia Berry, senior HBCU writer for Andscape and Andscape columnist Bill Rhoden, and we are talking about Michael Vick. Did we expect to wake up on a Tuesday morning and be talking about Michael Vick in the running for multiple college football head coaching jobs? Norfolk State, he's in discussions with. Also, Sacramento State, as reported by Adam Schefter of ESPN. Uh, we have Mia here to kind of talk about the Norfolk State angle of it. Mia, what can you tell us about Norfolk State, their situation in football right now, and how Michael Vick has entered the conversation?
For starters, Norfolk State is one of several Division One HBCU programs that are looking for a head coach right now. And when you're going through the head coaching search in the process, you're exhausting all of your options. Michael Vick is very familiar with the Norfolk State program. Mike Vick has actually volunteered with the MEAC, the Gridiron Clinics that they host in the summer. So he's been on the campus numerous times. He's seen the team. He's worked with the team. He's also talked to, officials of the MEAC. He's talked to the coaches as well. When it comes to that Virginia area, that Hampton Roads, that Newport Beach area, there isn't a bigger legend than Michael Vick in that area. So I'm not surprised that his name is connected to this job at all. I've seen a couple tweets from Norfolk State football players like Michael Vick. You have a couple players that are graduating saying, hold on, do I have some eligibility left for Michael Vick? It's just the name that he brings. So I will say they haven't officially named the head coach, according to my sources at Norfolk State. They're doing their due diligence. They reached out, they gave him a little formal interview. They're also interviewing other candidates as well. So we'll see. They haven't made a full determination just yet. And they said they haven't given a time frame on when to expect that final decision.
Bill, what
Yeah.
do you make of the Michael Vick sensation?
Kind of after I kind of got over being flabbergasted, like you said, we were all down in Atlanta, at the the pomp of the of Jackson State and Coach Taylor and the whole thing, and then in New York, Deion and Travis Hunt, with all this thing, and then all of a sudden, just when you think it couldn't get any more of a U-turn, we get hit by Michael Vick, and it's Michael Vick, and I think as Mia, Mia is all over this stuff. I mean, and then of course we get hit with Sacramento State, So I said, wait a minute, not only this guy's got multiple things, has he ever coached before? So clearly this is the Deion effect. I think that's not going out of the limb. It's saying ever since Deion was named as the Jackson State head coach, and everybody saw the kind of PR and goodwill and all that and juice that a coach like that can bring, everybody's been trying to recreate that largely unsuccessfully. Michael Vick would clearly be, I don't know who else Norfolk State is interviewing, but he clearly would be the most highest profile, coach they've got. I guess the difference, and we could talk about this, there's so many differences. I don't think Michael, unlike Deion, who did coach, I mean, Deion coached his sons. So he did have some coaching experience. And Vic, I don't think has really had any head coaching experience, and is different. I know he said he would surround himself with veteran staff and all that, and that who knows, man. Norfolk State needs something, and I guess the last thing I'll say before we get into discussion, when I think about Sacramento State, and they clearly came out and said no, we have not offered him his job. They clearly are making that clear. No, we ain't offered this brother his job. But I think that Vic would probably be more to Norfolk State than he would mean to Sacramento State. So I guess it would be. I don't know, man. It's tough. I mean, I like it. Mike has done some fascinating things with the documentary, working with flag football, and that kind of stuff. Head coach, I don't know me. I mean, that gets head coach at Norfolk State. Uh, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, I wish him well, but that's tough.
And it goes back to the Deion thing we were talking about. Deion had the unique situation, having an elite quarterback in his son,
Right.
being able to get an elite talent in Travis Hunter, and then be able to parlay that from Jackson to Colorado. I'm just curious to see that, regardless of if it's Sacramento State or Norfolk State, what's the infrastructure going to look like around Mike Vick, and can he get the players to come and rally around a program the way that Deion did? I'm not expecting him to get a Travis Hunter. Obviously, that seems like that was kind of a one in a million thing for Deion to have a unique situation as a Hall of Fame cornerback recruiting a kid who's the best cornerback in the country. But who knows? And I think that programs might be looking at this as we're willing to take a shot on this because of what we've seen from Deion Sanders.
I agree, Erik. But Bill, when you said, it's the Deion effect, coaches largely haven't been successful, I'm going to give you one outlier that I think Michael Vick can follow this formula and have the same success. Eddie George at Tennessee State.
Right.
FCS playoffs for the first time in a decade. The way he's been able to build up that roster, he didn't have the same thing Deion had. Sure, Eddie's son is on the roster, but Eddie's son is also not his best player on the roster. He was able to get us experienced staff around him. They were able to recruit. They have talented freshmen coming in, and they were able to grow, develop, and mold them. He also took other experienced FCS coordinators, so they knew what they were doing. And if I'm Mike Vick, yeah, you don't have Deion. Yeah, you don't have a son that is Shedeur Sanders. Shiloh as well. He had a couple, meaningful snaps. You don't get another son in Travis Hunter, but I feel like that impact. I feel like down to earth, Vic can still connect with student athletes. He can still connect with young men. He can tell them, as you've seen in his documentary, he's open about his mistakes. He's open about learning and teaching, and growing. So I feel like this is Vic's next step. It also depends on how he's going to do this. He needs that NFL caliber or experienced coaches around him to make this work. He could be a motivator as the coach and let everyone else take care of things behind the scenes. And let's not forget, there's talent in Virginia. There's a lot of talent in Virginia. Even some 3 stars in Virginia could be exactly what Norfolk State needs to take them out of MEAC purgatory. They've been at the bottom of the standings last few years. Only team that's been worse is Delaware State. So I think he can do it. He just has to be methodical about his approach. And Norfolk has more to gain by hiring him than losing.
Yeah, and I'm glad. No, you're absolutely right, Mia. And I'm glad you mentioned Eddie George. I was thinking about him. He was just named the finalist for the Eddie Robinson National Coach of the Year Award. And by the way, he just offered a scholarship to Travis Hunter's brother. So yeah, so you're right on all counts. I think it would be great for the MEAC, which really needs some juice. I think it would be great for Norfolk State. That's again some of the roles that HBCUs play. Remember, HBCUs when so many programs turned their back on Deion, Jackson State gave him the opportunity to really learn how to coach and basically kind of validated him. So I think that and you're right, I mean, how bad could it be? I mean, Norfolk State is already scraping the bottom of the barrel, and we all talked about this, about what makes a great coach. I mean, what is it just X's and O's? Is it the ability to connect, which we know that Michael Vick will be able to connect? I guess it's just the commitment, those long hours. You can't really get away from that. I don't care who you are. There's got to be long hours and there's got to be commitment. And I guess it's a double-edged sword, Michael Vick going back home. I mean, okay, that'll be good, but it's also going back to the scene of the crime, So I guess if I had to end up on it, I hope he goes because like I said, I think it would be good for him. It would clearly be good for a lot of young men who are going into that program. And face it, he's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play. He's a legend, and he's only 44. I think 44, 46, one of those. So he's a young guy. He's younger than Deion, and a lot of people still remember his legend. And if I'm an aspiring young quarterback, who's not going to Ohio State or something, I say, hey, man, I could probably learn a lot from this guy, just like Travis learned something from Deion. So, yeah, I think it would be, by the way, it'd be great for us. It would be great for us. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Is it great for us? It'd be a great story.
we'll
Absolutely, Bill.
yeah, we'll see what comes of it. It would be an interesting story. Now, I grew up watching Michael Vick. Mia, I don't want to date you, but what's your Michael Vick experience? What do you remember about the Michael Vick experience in the NFL?
My Michael Vick experience was post incarceration. So I knew Michael Vick as the Eagles legend back
Eagles
when they
legend,
had
like
Deshaun Jackson. Listen, that Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson, I'm like, dang, it felt like a couple times just throw it. He's somewhere over there. So yeah, it dates me a little bit.
Yeah, and for me, it's been full circle. I mean, obviously, I remember, writing columns off him when he was at Virginia Tech, and really
Mm.
knowing then that he was going to be really what he was, which is he was really a harbinger of things to come. People don't realize. I mean, Michael Vick, those first few years in Atlanta, man, he was like, whew, he was like Allen Iverson, a little bit of Michael Jordan. He had the NFL's hottest selling jersey. I mean, Michael Vick was the guy at any given time. He was the best athlete on the field. He was and Lamar Jackson raves about him, because that's his guy. So I think there are a lot of people, a lot of young players who, and then I think even going to prison, I wrote a lot about his incarceration, which I thought at the time. Now, he and Marion Jones, the Olympian, and Barry Bonds were all being investigated more or less at the same time. And I always thought it was a witch hunt. Yes, Vick was wrong. He'll tell you he was wrong. But I think there was also a witch hunt going on, that he was a big target. So, yeah, man, I just think that he's legendary. I think the documentary was great. I think that's another great thing he did, just expand his palette. So, yeah, the more I'm talking about this, more we're talking about this, I'm thinking it would really be great to know if he say. My question, I don't know if you know this, has he earned his degree? Because he left Virginia Tech after 2 years. So, Deion had to scurry up and get his degree from what school he earned his degree. I should know this. Talladega, was it Talladega?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Or Tuvalu.
Yeah,
One of them.
yeah. But my question is, I guess he must have earned his degree somewhere. Because I don't know. Can you do that? I don't know if you can coach at a college level if you haven't earned your degree. I don't know.
They can
Uh,
work with them. It wouldn't be unprecedented. So Cynthia Cooper, before she took over at Prairie View, she didn't have a degree. And the athletic director at the time was actually SWAT Commissioner Charles McClellan, sat her down and said, hey, I'm going to give you X amount of time to finish your degree. If you don't have your degree by this, then it was automatically she couldn't coach there. So it could be Norfolk State could work something out with him to where he's pursuing his degree while also coaching his team. So it's not completely unprecedented. HBCUs. HBCUs are always going to give, coaches that opportunity to see the good. They always saw the good in, coaches, students, athletes. So I don't think that'll be a deterrent. Maybe for Sacramento State,
yeah.
if he doesn't have a degree, I can see that being a deterrent for them. Norfolk State, just enroll Mike Vick into a few classes, what better thing to say than, oh, Mike Vick's also a Norfolk State alum.
Right. That's right.
that's
Yeah.
the next Andscape investigative story. How many credit hours short is Michael Vick of his degree? That's
Well, it's a lot. I mean, he left after 2 years, so you got to figure at the very least it's a lot. So, but that's what we do at HBCUs. That's our role, is to give you the opportunity. And I'm just saying, man, it would be great, man, for us next fall for Andscape to be on the ground at Norfolk State. With Vic with a coaching advisor and seeing him getting frustrated, throwing his hat on the ground and all that stuff. Who knows, man? It could be the next Deion story. I'm here for it.
I'm here
so.
for it as well.
Let's will it into existence. Let's make it happen. Mia, Bill, thanks for joining us once again. Make sure to check out Andscape.com for all of our latest coverage, keeping up with the Michael Vick story, and also make a recommendation on Andscape.com. Martenzie Johnson wrote a great piece about Michael Vick leading into the election this year, about him getting involved with voter advocacy. And I think that was a good piece. And you can check that out on Andscape.com. Please do. And we will see y'all next time.